All right, for the roll call, we have everybody here except for Jay, who is online. And before I go to the next item and such, if for some reason those watching us on the video right now look like we're not in high def, it's because we are not. We're using a special webcam right now because of some technical difficulties. So it is not your home computer, it is us, so we're working on it. All right, then we got an executive session. We had an executive session to discuss personnel prior to the meeting tonight. So we're going to move on to public comment. I do not have any papers here from anybody. Do I have your public comment? Come on up, John. John, if you could state your name, address, obviously, or township, actually, for the record, and then make sure it's on the agenda items for tonight.
Okay, my comment is, I didn't read the whole agenda item. It's a quick comment, I know you don't answer. John Rossi, Walnut Ridge, Lower Pottsgrove. Just a couple things. As a former board member, I've been approached, I don't know how many times, about coming back on the board. And I don't have the time. Being retired, I travel a lot. And that being said, I've been approached by several people, emailed and sometimes phone called. An issue on, and of course we don't give names, bullying. Apparently, if I remember correctly, when I was on the board, we had policies that dealt with bullying. And I've had 5 parents come to me saying to me that my child's being bullied and I don't know where to turn. Well, my first question is, well, have you contacted the school district? 2 out of the 5 said, well, no, I've just talked to my kid and other kids in the class. So, well, you have to contact the school district. The other 3 said yes, and they're not getting anywhere. And I have one of the children lives across the street from me, and I know the situation very well, and it's getting uglier and uglier. And you guys know my email and stuff. If anybody wants to email me to go further with it, that's fine. And I just want to remind, another thing that's been brought up to my attention is, aside from the students, the children in the school, our next biggest priority is the teachers. And I'm getting input that some of the teachers, and I'm not going to put any teachers on the spot, are being felt like they're being left out of some of the things that are going on in their own school district. I just wanted to bring that forward. I know that's food for thought. We don't discuss anything sitting here, and I understand that. So I just wanted to bring those 2 things up, and you want to contact me, President Leach, you know how, and we can sit down and talk about it. Or if you know anything about what I'm saying, then maybe you guys can take the ball and run with it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Do I have anybody online? And move this over. I'm just going to move over a little bit. All right, we're going to move on to the middle school presentation.
At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Felicia Gonzalez, principal of Pottsgrove Middle School, to the microphone, please. Would you introduce your team and tell us what you're here to do?
On this? You got that? Okay, there we go. I can hear it. So, hello, everybody. Good evening. So we have the opportunity to present tonight on our MTSS process that we put into place at the middle school. So we have a lot of members here. First, we have, if you guys want to raise your hand, Mr. Palladino, the assistant principal, Mr. Salchuk, our dean of students, Miss Rebecca Slothauer, who is our reading specialist. And guys, why don't you come introduce yourselves? Come on.
My name, is this working? My name is Arabella Kushner, and I'm a 7th grader. Yay. My name is Promise Johnson, and I'm a 7th grader. My name is Emmeline Kushner, and I'm a 6th grader. My name is Aldra Oliver, and I'm a 7th grader. My name is Addison McHugh, and I'm a 7th grader.
All right, thank you, everyone. So you're probably thinking MTSS, what the heck is that, right? So our MTSS program is a multi-tier system of supports, and what that looks like is we provide academic and social emotional learning supports and behavior to all students in our building, and it's based on different levels. So if you could take a look at the first slide there. Our goal this year was based on all our district goals, and we kind of combined it all into one big goal because every district goal that it hits on encompasses that entire goal. So we will create and implement an MTSS framework that provides a leveled system of support for all students in academics and behavior. So here is kind of what the MTSS process looks like. You can see it, we kind of picture it as an umbrella. And under that umbrella, we have a few different things there. We have academics, behavior, and social emotional learning. And we're looking at the whole child. So we put a bunch of things in place that support students out of Tier 1, 2, and 3. And these wonderful people over here have helped me put that into place. So two of the key players, or three of the key players, were Mr. Palladino, who really focuses specifically on the SEL part of it, the social emotional learning. And then we have Mr. Solchuk, who focuses on the academic piece, and as well as Ms. Slothauer. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Mrs. Slothauer.
Hi, good evening. I'm not sure who's changing the slides. Next. Hi. Okay, on the next slide, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what happens at our Tier 1, 2, and 3 level. If you are familiar with this pyramid, which I'm sure many of you have seen over the last decade, we live this pyramid. We live and breathe this pyramid every single day. So at our Tier 1 level of support, we have all of our student body. They're receiving high-quality, standard-based curriculum instruction from their classroom teacher. This includes whole group instruction as well as flexible small group instruction. So a student's progress is measured a lot of different ways, but we are measuring it through classroom assessments. We're measuring it through teacher observations. We're also looking at our exact path diagnostic, which is given 3 times throughout the year. So our goal is really to have 80% of our students within that Tier 1 population. Then we go on to Tier 2, 15% of our students. This is small group. This tends to be where teachers, specialists come into play. So we work with 4 to 6 students who meet with classroom teachers or specialists to work on specific needs. We use things like Exact Path, Ames Web Plus benchmark assessment to dig a little bit deeper if we need to. And then we have reading specialists and teachers, any kind of specialist working with the students at that level. Progress monitoring happens to measure our students' success. So we are keeping track of how our students are progressing. It's also important to note that students at the Tier 2 level are also receiving that Tier 1 instruction as well. So we're just layering on our support. Then we go on to Tier 3. Now, Tier 3 is a very small subset of our population. That should only be 5% of our students. They get that Tier 1 instruction. They also get the Tier 2 instruction, but then they receive a 3rd dose, our Tier 3 instruction. That instruction could be students who have IEPs. They could have a GIEP. They could be an English as a second language learner, and they are working with certified staff. That's where I usually come into play. So those programs that we're providing are scripted, they're research-based, and we are documenting performance of students all along the way. We're having conversations with teachers, we're having conversations with parents, and we're making sure we want to move those Tier 3 students back into Tier 2, or Tier 2 back into Tier 1. So how are we doing that? All right. So this year we started using something called Exact Path. The elementary schools have been using it. It's new to the middle school. And And when we started looking at diagnostic growth, I have to tell you, as a specialist who's been working with data for several years, I was impressed. I actually called Mr. Sawchuk and I'm like, look at this data and tell me, am I reading this wrong? Because this is amazing. Truly, truly amazing. So let's look at the fall data first. And we are looking at reading. So this is our NPR, our National Percentile Rank Trends. We administered our first diagnostic in the fall, and then we did our second diagnostic in January. And it's a little difficult to see the numbers on this slide, so I'll share with you some of the biggest growth that we've seen. We had 71% of our student body within the 25th to 99th percentile in the fall. In winter, we increased that number to 81%. That's huge. If you think about that pyramid that I showed you, we need 80% at Tier 1. That's ideal. We have 81. So that growth is significant. We also have 102 more students within the 50th to 99th percentile, and 63 students which no longer need Tier 2 or 3 support. That's a huge win, especially in reading. So the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about math. So math, our diagnostic 2, we're showing even better results. We have 84% of our students falling in the 25th to 99th percentile, and only 16% requiring an additional layer of support. Our wins for math, 141 more students are now falling within that 75th to 99th percentile. We didn't lose anyone, and we gained all of those students. That's huge. We also have, 87 students who no longer require Tier 2 and 3 support. Again, another big win for our department. So what's that data telling us?
Can I
Sure.
clarifying question?
Sure.
Because the graph is, the numbers.
It's hard to see.
Is it fair to say that when we see the darker columns on the diagnostic 2 versus
Correct.
diagnostic 1, when these two darker columns at the end, at the white, grow significantly, that's a positive thing?
That's extremely positive. That's exactly that 25th to 99th percentile. I can't see the number from here, and of course I don't have my glasses on. So, but you can probably see this in the presentation. It's, I think, the 70, can you see what those numbers say up there? Is it 70? 75 to 9, it's 75 to 99. Look how much growth that is on that far right side. That's huge. That is huge. And we're not losing students, we're just gaining. That growth just keeps growing. So what does all of that data tell us? It tells us that our core curriculum is working. It tells us small group, differentiated instruction is working. It also tells us Exact Path is working. And that's a big win. And finally, that layered support, that teachers, the specialists, the interventionists are all helping students to reach their potential. So that's what we do as educators, and that's a win. So now I'm going to turn over the next part to Mr. Sawchuk, who's going to discuss a little about Mr. Palladino, who's going to discuss a little bit more about social emotional learning.
Thank you, Ms. Slatauer. Good evening, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Kind of talk about our SEL, and which stands for our social emotional learning, and our behavior tiers. We started out giving probably about the first month to get to know our students within the building. And what we did was we collected behavioral data through the building as well as through our teachers. We met with our staff, and what we did is through recommendations, identified students that were in need of tiered supports. we then started to group those accordingly. So starting with our Tier 1, this is, again, the majority of our student body. They receive our SEL through what is called Second Step, which is a scripted program that teachers present during their homerooms. This is done at the beginning of each week. Those lessons are working on a multitude of different, different abilities that the students are going to continue to harness, and then they are also then continued to be repeated in our Tier 2 and Tier 3 groups. Now, our Tier 2 and Tier 3 groups are technically considered our advisory groups. Those groups in our Tier 2 meet with our on-course staff once per week, and a lot of times what they're doing in those smaller groups, which consist of somewhere around anywhere from about 4 to 8 students on the maximum, they're getting the lessons that were presented earlier in the week, but they're getting them, again, kind of reinforced. And so they're kind of focusing on certain aspects of those lessons, and then the teachers get a little bit of their own sort of usage of getting to know the kids and see which ways they need to be implemented as best as possible. Our Tier 3 groups are also considered our advisory groups, but they will meet with us as administrators. So they'll meet with myself, they'll meet with Mr. Salchuk, they'll meet with Dr. Gonzalez. In addition to getting those advisory lessons, we are also working with them as mentors, where we're doing grade checks, we're looking at what behaviors that may have arose that particular week, and what we're doing is we're setting goals for them in order to eventually, hopefully, move out of those tiers. Mr. Salchuk.
Good evening, everybody. So one of the important parts of an MTSS framework is that we're constantly evaluating our systems that are in place to gauge their effectiveness and make adjustments either with the groupings that we have or what we're using to meet the needs of those students. So because of confidentiality, I can't share individual student data, but every student every week gets evaluated by their mentor or by their on-course staff. And we're looking at 5 main areas. Their active participation within the groups, their attitude out in the student body, whether they're implementing the strategies that we're working on or whether they're working on the goals that we're setting for them, their decision-making, and then most importantly, their peer interactions. So this chart, it's a Likert scale, so it goes from 1 to 5, and this is just our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students. As you can see from the charts, we don't have many 1s and 2s. The majority of our students are getting graded 3 through 5, with the majority of the data being 4s and 5s. We just met as an MTSS team to evaluate each student, look at their data from November until the end of January. We made decisions on whether students needed to remain in Tier 3 or if they could be moved to Tier 2 or if they could be removed from Tier 2 to Tier 1. And we were able to exit 23 students had positive movement, and that we took them down 1 tier. So they're not losing the SEL and behavior monitoring. It's just the level of interactions that they're having with us might change a little bit. We also gauge all of the on-core staff and the classroom teachers to see if there's any students that we're missing. And through that process, we were able to identify 13 students that could benefit from an additional tier. So it's constantly changing. We're looking at the data to accurately apply whatever strategies we can to our student body. Now we're going to turn it over. We asked some of our students who partake in some of these in Exact Path, in our updated 10th period, and also Second Step. So I'm going to turn it over to some of our 7th grade ladies.
My name is Aldra Oliver, and I am a 7th grader at the Pottsgrove Middle School. I am a member of the yearbook committee and play field hockey and lacrosse for the school. I'm here today with my best friend. My name is Addison McHugh, and I'm also a 7th grader. I am a member of the band, participate in Falcon Friends, and play volleyball and softball for the school. We are both distinguished honor students, members of the National Junior Honor Society, and arrive early to school every day to run the school store together. In addition to all of this, we have worked hard to earn placement in not only 8th grade algebra, but also the accelerated ELA program. Today we are going to discuss some of the benefits and experiences of the accelerated learning and 10th period intervention/enrichment programs. We are both in first block accelerated ELA taught by Ms. Deborah Frasca. This class is unique because we are given a syllabus, all materials, and rubrics for all assignments at the beginning of each quarter. It is our responsibility to follow the syllabus, submit assignments on time, and seek guidance as needed. At the end of each unit, we combine the text, concepts from our assignments, and the unit's vocabulary list to come together for a graded Socratic seminar. Here, we as students discuss everything we've learned and challenge each other's ideas and the understanding of the material. While this format can be challenging, it has led me to understand my own study habits and really fine-tune my time management skills. Our ideas are often challenged by Ms. Frasca, which really pushes us to be more creative and also encourage us to debate her feedback and defend our work. I realize that this is just a sneaky way for her to get us to further demonstrate our understanding of the subject. This class has helped me to develop so many new skills. I have written in-depth character analyses and discussed literary themes and structures in the form of a literary travel blog. I have used photography, graphic design, and persuasive writing techniques to create a 2-page magazine spread highlighting middle school boys' role in relational aggression. I have given a presentation to my class detailing how to properly write a donation request letter. We have just entered our 3rd quarter drama unit covering Sophocles' Antigone. I can't wait to see what I'm capable of creating next. The intervention/extension 10th period is a 35 to 40-minute period that can serve a multitude of purposes for students at the middle school. Some of the things students can achieve in this time include homework, studying, missing work, extension activities, differentiated assignments, tutoring and extra help from teachers, going to another teacher's room, and lastly, exact path. 10th period gives students time to work on missed assignments and homework. I know that I usually have lots of work to do at the end of the day and am involved in after-school activities, so I'm very thankful for this time in school to be able to complete some of my homework and study for upcoming tests and quizzes. Most teachers don't make their assignment due until the end of the school day, giving students the opportunity to complete the homework during 10th period. This time can also be used to work on extension activities and differentiated work that teachers may assign if they think the student needs it to extend their knowledge on a current topic or challenge their mind with more advanced lessons. I know that Ms. Frasca has given students extensions to ongoing assignments if they comprehend the topic quickly and finish what is due that week. On the other hand, some students take more time to complete work, so teachers are always available during this time for remediation and tutoring. So, going to another teacher's room is another way for a student to spend their 10th period. If a student is having trouble in a class, they can ask their teacher for an appointment pass to get extra guidance during this time. Another way that teachers can offer an extension of academic skills or support in areas of weakness is through a program called Exact Path. Exact Path is an individualized learning program that focuses on each student's learning weaknesses in the areas of language arts, reading, and math, which is determined through benchmark diagnostics administered in the fall, winter, and spring. Exact Path then assigns students lessons to help fill in gaps of learning and grow stronger on that topic. This time doesn't have to be just for academics. It is also used to help students' social and emotional well-being through a program called Second Step. Second Step lessons are done in homerooms every Monday and work on units such as mindsets and goals, recognizing bullying and harassment, thoughts, emotions, and decisions, and managing relationships and social conflict. For students who are involved in activities like band and chorus, 10th periods are a time for scheduled rehearsals, in addition to their before and after school rehearsals. Lastly, some volunteer clubs, like Falcon Friends, offer sessions that students can sign up for during 10th periods if they do not have any missing work or if they don't need help in any of their classes. Thank you for listening to our student perspective and input on our advanced classes in 10th period.
Good evening. My name is Arabella Kushner, and I'm a 7th grade student at Pottsgrove Middle School. 10th period has helped me a lot academically. During 10th period, I'm able to make up missed assignments and finish my homework. And if I ever need help, I have a teacher that I trust right there in the room to help me. And in 10th period on Mondays, I have Second Step. Second Step has taught me many valuable lessons. I've learned the difference between bullying and harassment. I've learned about different types of harassment and about internal roadblocks and external roadblocks and how to overcome them. And I've also learned about how to reframe my negative thoughts into positive ones. These are just a few of the very many lessons that Second Step has taught me. Thank you for your time. Good evening. My name is Emmeline Kushner, and I'm a 6th grade student at Pottsgrove Middle School. 10th period is a great way for me to get homework, missing work, an exact path, and study for upcoming tests and quizzes. I think it's easier to get some work done in 10th period than it is to do it all at home for homework. Second step has taught me some good life skills, like how to identify the difference between bullying and teasing, how to be an upstander, not a bystander, how to help others if they're being bullied, what to do if you're getting bullied, how to deal with cyberbullying, how to turn negative thoughts into positive thoughts, and many more lessons. Second Step is a great way to help students be kinder to others and not just leaving them to get bullied and maybe even hurt. I would like to say how useful 10th period and Second Step is useful for me and others. Have a great night.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Promise Johnson. Today I'm here to explain why my Second Step group is helping me with my grades, staying out of trouble, and being a great role model for my peers around me. Last year in 6th grade, I was getting myself into trouble frequently. I often was in unnecessary drama, sometimes even drama that had nothing to do with me. When school was over, I decided to myself that I was gonna try to stay out of trouble, or just letting people say what they felt like they needed to say. And I told myself that I was going to keep my comments to myself and keep my head up, looking forward, never backwards. I was recruited into the Second Step group with other students. I noticed that the majority of the students in the group were alike. We were all students that flipped our time at school around, or at least were in the process of trying to flip our behavior around. At first, when I was recruited to the Second Step group with Mr. Sawchuk, I thought I was in trouble. Later, after a few meetings, it was about time for conferences. I came home to my mom, and she was saying that she had a meeting with Dr. Gonzalez, the principal, and Mr. Sawchuk, the dean of students. And at that time, there was so much running through my mind, but it turns out the meeting was good. My Second Step group has changed me and helped me to stay on the right path, because I love the feeling. I love the feeling when my mom gets good news from the school, and it makes me feel like I really outdone myself. Some people wouldn't think that they could turn everything around just like I did, but I think that everyone can turn everything around with the Second Step group. Because I used to be that kid that thought I wouldn't be able to turn my behavior around, but I did. I used to think everyone already thinks of me for how I act, and there's no point, but there was, and I did it because of the Second Step group. I've done a good job, and there's still a lot to keep up with or work on, but now I believe I can do it, and that there is a reason. I've learned not to listen to anyone's thoughts on me because of the Second Step group. The only things that matters is how I feel about myself. I would like to thank the administrators and my mom for helping me get where I am, and it has to do with the Second Step group. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here this evening. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Roberts, and I'm an 8th grader at Pottsgrove Middle School. I want to start off by saying that I'm one of those kids that get easily distracted as a teen. Sometimes as a teen you get mixed up in stuff and you don't know how to get out of it, but the group helped me figure out what really mattered. My parents were a big part of that eye-opener for me. One of my favorite quotes that I stand on are, don't let the day run you, One of my favorite quotes are, run the day, don't let the day run you, because a lot of kids let one thing ruin their day, and they feel like they can't fix it, but they can. They can take one step at a time and fix it. That's why I feel like a lot of kids need group. I'm Rosalind Roberts, and thank you for your time.
Sorry, it was so long.
We get this picture up here? We get you all up here?
I'll put my thing down for a second.
She just shows up. I know, just a second.
Yeah, parents, don't be shy. Come right up.
Does anybody have any comments or questions in regards to middle? All right, I will. For the parents and students that are here, I applaud everything you're doing and taking care of the kids and such like that. I will give a personal testimonial because this program actually changed a little bit now, but helped my son when he was in early elementary. He had issues with reading, and he went through the same type of program as you guys did. And it sometimes is difficult when you have a student that's going through and needs intervention, so sometimes the student feels like they aren't as smart as everybody else, but they are. Or they're having issues, and why are they in this? And you don't want your child to be going through something like this. But it helps them so much, to a point where my son graduated because of this program. He helped him catch up in his reading to where when he graduated in 12th grade, not only did he get a full academic scholarship as an aerospace engineer for Purdue University, he's graduating this year with his concentration in fluidics for his master's degree, and was offered the doctorate, but turned that down because he's offered too much dang money in the real world and go and get a job and stuff like that. So he's going to be working up in Manhattan and such. But the program is such a good program for our students, and I commend all of you for the work you guys are all doing. So thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to the, well,
What was that quote? Don't let the day run you. May I have that quote one more time, if you don't mind? Because if I don't need that, let me tell you. Can you say it again? Right? Thank you for that. You didn't know, but I needed that tonight. Thank you. I think we probably all need that from time to time. The testimonies were powerful tonight, and I want to thank all of you. Thank you so much.
thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the student board report, please.
All right, I don't know if I can follow that quite as well as that was said, but, I'm going to try. So basically, I'm going to give a little bit of a summary of the things within the student body we've been doing over the past few weeks. So last week, in the upcoming Super Bowl, in honor of the Super Bowl, we had an Eagles Spirit Week. I wasn't here for it, but from what I heard, it was pretty good. So everybody, the student body was encouraged to support the Eagles, but, your own team if you want, I guess, with wearing your favorite jersey, your favorite player, or wearing green. And then starting off this week, and a little bit of last week, Diversity Council had presentations. So last week, we were presented, or 2 weeks ago, we were presented with a project that was optional for the student body that was basically based off of educating for other students on an under-recognized Black Black figure and their accomplishment that has been lost in time. And basically this is someone that you wouldn't think of, like, Martin Luther King Jr., like someone you wouldn't think of that people don't know about, and something that they've done to affect, it's not to be big, it could be small, but just something that they've done to affect society the way we know it. And the presentations by Diversity Council were really well done, I thought, and they really gave insight into some of the things that we've been missing. And so I had decided to do this project, and I'm doing my project on, I forget her name, but she was the first Black woman to be on the New York, pass the New York bar exam. And so she graduated, I want to say from Yale. So, and reading about it was interesting because it gives you more insight into someone. I didn't even know what she did or even who she was, and so I read about it. It was really impactful. But going off of that, this week, Diversity Council had presentations in the library, and these were based off of different cultures and allowed students to try foods, see artifacts, get to know the culture of different countries, learn heritage, and just a lot of students were from the countries they were presenting, so you got to see their inside information of the things they've experienced there, which was really good. And then basically the goal of it was to spread awareness for different things, like different cultures and different traditions in each of the different countries. So that's all I have for today. So I'm going to turn over to Lily and let her tell you about sports and the musical.
So going off of what Emily said, I'm in student council, and we work together with Diversity Council to make slides for Black History Month on underrepresented Black figures. And then I believe they were presented in different history classes during the week. So that was really cool that we got to work together with them. And I also wanted to bring up how we're getting into spring sports because I'm really excited since I play lacrosse and I'm a goalie. We also have boys and girls lacrosse, track and field, baseball, softball, and boys tennis coming up. And another big event that's coming up is our school's musical, and it's called Anything Goes, and it will be shown on Thursday, March 2nd, Friday, March 3rd, and Saturday, March 4th. And we're hoping that if you can make it, you can buy tickets online now. And if you can make it, we would love for there to be support for all the cast, crew, directors, and everyone that's contributed to it. Thank you.
Anybody have any comments or questions? Thank you, ladies. We're going to move on to the report of the superintendent.
Thank you. Just one item tonight. It's that time again. It's kindergarten registration. So the online portal for kindergarten registration is now open. You can find more information about kindergarten registration and the online portal by visiting our website, clicking the Students and Parents tab, and clicking Registration. Kindergarten students need to be 5 years of age prior to September 1st to be registered. So please help get the word out. Getting the word out to students who don't necessarily, or future students who aren't necessarily associated with the district, is always a little challenging. So talk to your neighbors and help spread the word. Just one other, wasn't there an event in January? Some type of event that...
Sorry, who's that? Lily doesn't want to talk about it because she lost, but yeah, Color Day. The juniors won, so let me just say props to the juniors for being the seniors. That's all I'm going to say before she gets mad at me.
Yeah, it was a tough loss, but, we lost with pride, I think, for the most part, so.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the approval of the minutes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 7-1 and 7-2.
I have a motion and a second to approve both items on the minutes. Do I have any questions or comments on these? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to the receiving of the accounts.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the high school, middle school, and cafeterias accounts as presented.
I have a motion and a second to approve the receiving of the accounts. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to granting of the orders. Yeah, today's online.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the payments of invoices in the amount of $2,532,266.93 for January 2023 as presented.
I have a motion and a second to pay the bills for January. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to treasurer's report.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report for January 2023 and file it for audit.
I have a motion and a second to approve the treasury report and remove it to audit. Anybody have any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to personnel.
Under personnel, I would like to make a motion, we approve 11.1 through 11.8.
I have a motion and a second to approve items 11.1 through 11.8. Does anybody have any comments or questions on these? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to 11.9.
Make a motion that we approve 11.9 through 11.11.
I have a motion and a second to approve 11.9 through 11.11. Does anybody have any comments or questions? You have a question about number 10, Dr. Nippert?
Yeah, my copy of the agenda doesn't have 11:11.
11, you don't have 11.11 or you don't have 11.10?
I have 11:10, but it stops at 11:10.
So 11.11 is approval of the MCIU Business Administration Services Agreement.
Got it, okay.
You have it? All right. Do you have any comments or questions?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to move on to action items business.
It wasn't formatted.
I'd like to make a motion. Oh, you have to shut yours off there. Thank you. No worries, Joe. I'd like to make a motion, action items 12.1.
I have a motion and a second to approve 12.1, the MCIU membership budget. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this one?
Yeah, I just want to make it noted that there was a 3.91 increase. So, just so we have that.
Noted. Anybody have any comments or questions other than that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
We need to vote on this one?
We have to vote individually?
Yeah, on, this is the one, right?
We have a
Chrissy?
roll count?
Yeah.
Roll count for this? Okay. Ashley, I'm going to ask you to call the roll for this particular vote.
All right. Patty? Yes. Jim? Al?
Yes.
Tina?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yeah.
Jay?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passes then. Move on to action item 12.2, TBX open enrollment.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 12.2.
I have a motion and a second to approve the TBX open enrollment. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Move on to action items education.
Under action items education, I would like to make a motion that we approve 13.1 through 13.7.
I have a motion and a second to approve all action items in education. Does anybody have any comments or questions on any of the individual ones? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move on to MCI board update.
Okay. So, right, so we had our meeting on the 25th of January. As is how every meeting is presented there. Every director of every department comes up and gives us an overview, and sometimes we have to vote on certain things. Usually we do. But it's really nice because they present a highlight of what they've done over the last month or two, and then we always have a presentation also, one of the departments. So our presentation last month was the Office of Technology, and that was really informative. I'm not a technology person, but the amount of work that they do there that helps the entire Montgomery County, all Montgomery County school districts is pretty amazing. So anyway, let's see. It was announced that Jeff Sultanic, who Brian knows, kind of. The Community Partnership School will be hosting a celebration on Friday, May 19th, in recognition of his impact and leadership in education across Pennsylvania. Mr. Sultanic has been involved in many of the school districts, not even just Montgomery County. He's been like everywhere, right? And he's done some amazing work over the years, and I don't recall exactly how long he has been a lawyer, but I remember when it was announced, I asked him if he was 12 when he became a lawyer, because I could not believe that. I was like, how? And he's still, somebody asked him at the meeting the other night if he ever wrote anything down, because he just sits there and he just goes through stuff, not looking at anything, and he said, no, I just remember everything. I'm like, must be nice. And really the big announcement for the night was that the MCIU was awarded the 4-year Project AWARE grant by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. Project AWARE is a nationwide grant created to develop a sustainable infrastructure for school-based mental health programs and services. Dr. Speaker celebrated the collaborative effort put forth by the MCIU Board President and members of the MCIU Cabinet. And this grant was, I know it was received by 2 other districts. I'm trying to remember. It was Luzerne, and I can't remember the other one. And they're all going to work together on using the money towards starting programs and stuff to help with the students' mental health. And other than that, that was about it. So anyway, it was a really good meeting, and I look forward to the next one.
Thank you. Ashley, anybody have any comments or questions? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the JOC meeting update. Patty?
Thank you, Al. Let's see, we met last week, and this month is CTE month, so we're celebrating all of our students. And this is actually for Jay. He wasn't at our meeting, but this is a T-shirt that we all received, and this was designed by our commercial students to design. So that's pretty cool because it shows all the different features the school that you can have. So I have this for Jay, so if you want to look at it, I'll pass it around. Yeah, it's actually very, very nice. On Thursday, February 9th, Mr. Levingood actually did a tour to the Chamber of Leadership Group, which was really nice to have everybody come and see our school. Let's see what else. The diesel program received a new lift. We were able to purchase it with a $50,000 grant. And this is going to actually help with Hunter, the company Hunter, that they're going to use all their equipment in this program. And so all the students will be able to see top-notch on how all these programs work. It'll help them when they get out in the field. The nurses grant was approved and several items were purchased: first aid kits, stop the bleed, and radios, which were much needed. We had 9 students placed first in the Skills USA and will be competing at the next state level. 3 are nominated to the delegate positions, and next year, remember, we'll be hosting that, so that's going to be really big for us. And we're trying to find out, we think we have a big reunion next year, too. We're trying to get in the archives and find that out. CCAP, which is for the culinary arts competition, we had there's 21 students that competed. 3 of the finalists are from the Western Center, and there's a possibility of a scholarship to Johnson & Wales for $130,000. The budget for 2023-24 will be presented in March. We updated our board policies. We were introduced to Joe Cruz, our new diesel instructor. And then at the end of the meeting, the JOC members were able to get a quick tour of the automotive technology program. We have currently 50 students currently in co-op. 47 are out in the workplace, and 3 are completing their paperwork. We have an upcoming event on, let me see what date, he has this on 2 places here. March 1st from 6 to 8. And it's, what do they call that? They call this, stereotypes, skills over stereotypes, which is offered to 6th to 9th grade students. And they actually get to pick 2 different classes that they can go into. And they get more in-depth on these programs on if this might be something that they want to do. So they're trying to keep it limited to the students, but we already have 47 that RSVP'd, so that's great for our number. The big event, Amish and German theme, is March 9th, and it's 4:30 and 6 are the 2 sessions. And if you want to go, it's $25, and you have to RSVP by email. So things are happening, as always, at the Western Center. So proud of them.
Thank you, Patty. We're going to move on to committee items. I need a motion for the minutes for 16.1 through 16.3.
Sounds like you just made the motion.
Can't make the motion.
I would like to make a motion, we approve 16.1 through 16.3 on the minutes.
I have a motion and a second to approve the committee item minutes. Does anybody have any comments or questions on those? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. We're going to move on to the Policy Committee report.
Good evening, all. There were 3 different policies that we went over. The first was 206, which was assignment within the district. Prior to that, from 2019 was the last time it was reviewed, there was, whenever it dealt with assignments, building assignments for students when there was movement within the district. It was pretty much set in stone. The new change is to allow the superintendent discretionary powers to look at each individual case if needs to be reassignment of the students. Policy 827 was conflict of interest. That pretty much was the difference here. Whenever dealing with federal programs and grants, if it is believed that there is any conflict of interest, the superintendent will report to the federal agency providing those grants with any conflict of interest. The third policy was much more involved, 251. Prior to this, it was titled Homeless Students, adopted in 2003. It was changed this year to the same policy number 251, to students experiencing homelessness, foster care, and other educational instability. It's based on, I'm going to quote here, the statute required the PA Department of Education in consultation with the Department of Human Services to issue guidelines and best practices to assist school entities in implementing the provisions of the law and facilitate the students' transition between school entities. Boiling it down, for students that are experiencing homelessness or going through foster care and any other educational instability, to make it simple or to make it as painless as possible for the families so that students can be either going through their original school or the new school district so that there's continuity of education and trying to make life better for them. So that was it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Does anybody have any comments or questions in regards to policy? Thank you, Jim. We're going to move on to new business. Dr. Finnerty? Tina?
How's school going?
Good. I just got back from my week-long vacation, so, I was in Florida for a week. But now that I'm back, I'm catching up on work, but I'm at the point of the year where, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I want it to be summer. So I'm just going to grind, and I don't know how it's almost March, but it's almost March. And that's scary, but SATs, so, woo! But yeah, it's good, as always. Actually, yes, we have a staff versus student bocce meet on Thursday, and that's like our last bocce meet. It's not really a meet, but yeah, we didn't have the best season, but it's okay. We're new to this. We're getting there. It will be better next year. We need some practice, but yeah, I'm excited for that because that's going to be interesting. Because you're just talking a big game, so we gotta just beat them. So yeah.
Yeah, same for me. I'm just excited to start finishing out senior year and hearing back from colleges and everything.
Patty?
Yeah, I just wanted to do a little promo for the play that's coming up at the high school. Anything Goes. It'll be on March 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at 7 p.m. So hopefully we'll see everybody there.
Joe?
I have nothing at this time.
Dr. Nippert?
Nothing except anything goes.
I come around, do you girls have any new business, though? Jim?
Sort of tying in with the musical, there's also the art show. And the question I was actually going to ask, but I thought I'd ask it here. Last year, they overlapped on the first opening day, but then the subsequent nights of the musical, it was closed off, so parents and families that were at the musical couldn't go in to see the artwork. Now, I don't know if that changed after the next day, but I was going to say if there's any way to see that it could be open, since a lot of times we have family members visiting, so.
Okay.
If you need parents to volunteer to watch the art, I'll be happy to come in, so.
Bill, you're up.
Nothing.
Ashley?
I just have something very quick to share. It was very heartwarming. Family in my neighborhood, their son is on the spectrum, and he was nonverbal. So he was, he was fairly affected by autism. He had started going to some, therapies and stuff like that through the MCIU, and this year they decided to send him to Pottsgrove. And I had talked up Pottsgrove's special ed, and anyway, this little boy, it almost brought me to tears. I was out walking the dogs, and he was coming home from school, and this little boy, as of last year, said very few words. It was a Friday, and he had a friend come home with him, and I watched them get out of the car and go running up their driveway, screaming and yelling, and I just stopped, and I was like, what could be better than that? To watch that kind of transformation, and to know that Pottsgrove had a great deal to do with it, because every time I talk to this little boy's mother, she just raves about Pottsgrove's special ed program and how amazing her son is doing. And I thought that right there was all the proof I needed, was to watch him and his friend go running up the driveway to play on a Friday afternoon after school. So that was all.
Very nice story. Jay, you're online. You have anything?
Nothing from me, Al. Thank you.
All right, it's going to come to me. I have two different items. First, today's Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's to all our significant others and such like that. I do want to say, as a personal to me again, thank you to my wife. She's not watching, but I'm still saying thank you anyway, for allowing me and to take the time to be here, especially on days like today, when normally we would be doing something different, and to all the other significant others in our lives that allow us the time to be here doing volunteer work when obviously we could be doing something else on Valentine's Day. So thank you very much to all the significant others that support us. Second thing, you're going to be coming up, I'm going to hope Joe has more idea with the dates, but the local elections are this year. I say it every year, these come up, and I'm saying it again. Please, look at your local elections. The people that sit at these 9 spots and your local commissioners affect your lives in this community more than your national people. I'm telling you, we do a lot more on how much you're going to pay in your taxes, how much your kids are going to get their education, what's going to happen in your local community, than the state senator, the president of the United States, and everybody else. Please get out, vote. Upcoming, 5 individuals here and many individuals that are your local commissioners are going to be running for office. Please get out, run against them, run for us. We would love to have people running. Every year we have no one running for a school board in Pottsgrove, except the ones here. And unless we're doing the greatest job imaginable, right? And maybe we are, right? But I'd love to see other people with different ideas also come on the board. We're a team of 9 that represent an entire community, right? Run. The next couple of weeks, you're going to see people out with petitions. Obviously, some will be from here. Hopefully, there'll be some that'll be new. Same thing goes with your local area for your commissioners. Please get out there. Run for these offices. Yes, they're volunteer. Yes, you're not going to get paid. But the benefit to your community is tenfold by putting up your time. I commend everybody here that has run. Some have been on this board longer than I'm almost in this district. Right? I've been here for 8 years. Most of us have been at least 8, some new individuals and such like that. And I thank everybody that does run for the local. It's a very difficult job. You get no credit for anything, but you affect so many lives. So please, get out there. Local elections matter. That's all from me.
All
right, do we have any public comment here? Do we have any public comment online? No. All right, then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.